In this video, I'd like to talk to you a minute about how to do what we call a 1.5 times IQR outlier check. Okay, so that's kind of the method. There's different ways to check for outliers, but this is a particular one that I'm going to go through with you in this video. Okay, so if you're following along on our guided notes, I have one called Practice on Finding Mathematical Outliers that's in your packet. I just took data set number 4, and I took their data, I put it in my calculator in L1, I sorted it, and I have my data in order. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have to find in this is what we call the 5-number summary. Okay, so I'd like to know what we have here, the min, the max. Well, I could go in order. That might be better. Min, Q1, median, Q3, and the maximum values for the data set. Okay, so it's already in order, so we can pick up our min values here. So 12, our max value over here at 59, just the highest value. Okay, and then I want to take a look at finding the median in the first and the third quartiles. Okay, so median, we're just going to cut your data set in half. If we went through, we could actually do your little chop off method for each end here. All right, then we end up with a tie here in the middle because we have 12 numbers in our data set, so it's an even set of numbers. Okay, so to get your median, you're just going to take whatever those two values happen to be, add them together and divide by 2. So we get a little quick average there. So for that median, we've got 29.5. So there's our halfway point in our data. Okay, so then next thing we want to do is find the first and the third quartiles. So to find that first quartile, we're going to take this first half of the data and then cut it in half, or find the median for that point. Okay, so if I come in from each side, so here, here, we're tied right here in the middle. So our Q1, 20 plus 21 divided by 2. So that should drop you in here at 20.5. Okay, so then we're going to find the median of the second half of the data. So we're going to go down to this end. Okay, so we're going to come in from each side again. Okay, we land in here together, so we're going to take Q3 to be 31 plus 32 divided by 2. Okay, or 31.5. So that's our Q3. Okay, so essentially what I did was I had the set of data. I'm kind of running out of space here. I cut it in half to find the median. Then I cut each half in half. So that gave me Q1, cut this half in half, that gives me Q3, and you see that you have 4 quarters going across there, okay? That's what we just did to our data set. All right, so to check for outliers, so an outlier, again, is an extreme value, something really high, something really low. So to get there, to do this special 1.5 IQR check, we first need to know IQR. IQR is called the interquartile range. Okay, so it's the range on the insides, on the interior. Okay, to get that, you're going to take Q3 minus Q1. Okay, and yes, you may put that on your formula sheet if you wish. All right, so for my example here, our IQR, Q3, 31.5, minus Q1, 20.5. Okay, so if you go through that calculation, we're going to get an IQR here of 11. Okay, so that's the distance in here from Q1 down here to Q3. Okay, interquartile range. Okay, that's the spread on the inside, or the middle 50%. Sometimes people will call it that as well. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we do 1.5 times the IQR. What that's going to establish for us is a couple of fence posts. Okay, it's going to use it in our calculation here. All right, so I'm going to take 1.5 times 11 next. Okay, and if you do that, you get 16.5. Okay, so now here's what the big check is. To determine how far out is okay, we're going to take Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. We're going to take Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR. That will establish our min and max values such that anything smaller or bigger than these two positions are going to be considered an outlier or an extreme value. Okay, so if we take Q1 over here we said was 20.5 minus 16.5. Okay, we land there at 4. Okay, so we go in our data set and we go over here and say, okay, this was 12. If I keep going back this way, it would be 4. Anything smaller than a 4 is going to be an outlier. Okay, is there any other number out here? Is anything less than 4? No, because 12 is the smallest. Okay, so at this point, there's no outlier on the small side. Okay, then we're going to go through and do it on the larger side. So we're going to do Q3 plus 1.5 IQR. So your Q3 value, right there, 31.5, plus the 1.5 IQR, again, is over here, 16.5, okay? Run that through the calculator, and you get 48. All right, so we come back to your data set in order. All right, think about, all right, 48 would sit here. Is there anything bigger than this fence post? Oh, well, how about that? There's a 59 sitting over there, okay? So what we conclude is that for this data set, we have an outlier of 59, okay? Which we proved by doing the 1.5 IQR check, okay? So there you go. That's how we go through outliers and check for outliers, okay? You have a couple other data sets on here that work you through the same thing. If you want to stop the video now, you can. If not, I'm going to erase and I'm going to do data set number 5 on your sheet. Okay, sometimes it helps to hear this a second time. Okay, bear with me a second. Get this out of the way. Kind of a lot to fit on this little whiteboard. Okay, I guess we'll go all the way down through here, huh? Outlier, min max, and our IQR. Okay, so again, referencing your guided notes, if we go through here to data set number 5, okay, it's the last one here on the bottom of your page, okay, and again, I put the numbers in order, so sorry, you have to stick with me here a minute. 82, 5, 86, 89, 90, 90, 93, and 97, okay? And again, I would go through first and find that 5-number summary. The min, Q1, and so forth. So here we have a min of 60, a max of 97, okay? If we go through here to find our median, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it looks like we're in here between the 6th and 7th number for median. You can probably look there and say, oh, 85 plus 86 divided by 2 is in fact 85.5. Okay, so then if we go in here and we find the median for the first half of the data, we've got 1, 2, 3. We're going to be between here, so it looks like 80.5 for Q1. Okay, go down to this end, find the median for the second half of the data. So 1, 2, 3. Well, that's convenient. Okay, so we have a 90 here and an 80.5 at this side. Okay, so I guess next up we need to find the interquartile range. All right, so interquartile range, or IQR, we're going to go from 90 to 85. So 90 minus, excuse me, 80.5. Okay, so that would give us what, 9.5 for our IQR when we subtract. Okay, then we need to know what 1.5 times 9.5 is. Okay, so I'm doing this part of our formula, the 1.5 IQR. Okay, I multiplied and I have 14.25. So that's going to be my adder subtractor in the next step. Okay, so to find the lower fence post, we're going to take your Q1, which is 80.5, subtract 1.5 IQR, which is 14.25. I came up with 66.25. Okay, so if I'm thinking over at this side, grab my blue pen, where 66.25 would be? Well, here's 60. 66.25 would fall in this zone right here. If there's anything smaller, it's an outlier. Well, looky there. Okay, so 60 is going to give us an outlier. All right, so now let's check on the upper side. Do we have an extreme value on the upper side? So we're going to take Q3, which is 90, plus 14.25. Okay, that upper fence post is 104.25. Okay, so we go up here, 104.25 would be way up here. I get out of the way so you can see. Is there any numbers on the right side of that? There sure isn't. So for this data set, we happen to have a small outlier, okay, down on the left side, okay, nothing on the upper side, okay. So again, that was data set 5 from your guided notes. Hope that's helpful, and looks forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, everybody.